nothing on the table. Nice into 15. Oh, and very late.
Die erste Spurläuferin, sie macht sich in der Startbox bereit. norwegische Nachwuchspilotin Ida Vetti. Mit 83,3 Stundenkilometern. Bereits in Rückwärts. Startet. Startzeit 50. Either your time is 84 start or time of 66. Approaching horseshoe, approaching horseshoe. Vorbei, Freier. 100,0. 5 minutes to go before the legal time to go. Top speed 131, 17. Laufzeit 1,70.
Welcome back to the Engadine Valley in Switzerland. St. Moritz is the venue for race 6 of the IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. This historic venue, the longest track, the only handmade natural track still in the business. And we go into our second and deciding heat, the penultimate World Cup race before the Olympic Games, with 20 sleds to go and a little bit of light snow falling. Well, the snow shouldn't affect the pace, certainly didn't in the first heat. And we've got an interesting lineup in our top 3. The European champion in the monobob yesterday, who finished in the silver medal position, Melanie Hasler, in the bronze medal position, 24 hundredths off the lead. She was the bronze medalist here in St. Moritz, her home track, 2 years ago. In the silver medal position is Kaylee Humphries. She was the bronze medalist on this track 3 years ago in the World Championships in 2023, and she has been a winner as well back in 2020 on the St. Moritz ice. Kaylee Humphries, 16 hundredths off the lead, and that is held by former race winner as a brakewoman, Lisa Buchwitz, with Kira Lipperheider behind her, a new start record. And Buchwitz on a streak here, 2 silver medals and a bronze in the last 3 races as a driver. And of course, that gold in the World Championships in the year before the World Championships, rather, with Kim Kilicki, the reigning or the woman who won the World Championships here in 2023. Debbie Annan of Switzerland is 4th, ahead of Kilicki and Lara Nolter. Kim Kilicki, incidentally, with 3 wins on this track. Alana Myers-Taylor with 4, the most successful current slider here. Most successful this century with 5 wins. Sandra Kiriasis, the great German slider. Well, Maja Voigt of Denmark and Christian Buchnowski did not start. And Sarah Blizzard in 20th place for Australia will be the first to go in the second heat after the field has been narrowed from the original starters to just 20 to go into the last heat. And that will be the same in the Olympic Games, a 4-heat race for the women and for all of our disciplines, apart from the skeleton teams competition. And after the 3rd heat, we will cut the field to 20 for bobsleigh and the fastest 25 in men and women's skeleton for the final medal runs. And as in the Olympic Games, so too in the World Cup and all other sliding, both runs count, or all runs count, depending on whether it's a 2-heat or a 4-heat race. World Championships and Olympics being the 4-heat races. So Sarah Blizzard and brakewoman Desi Johnson go off first. Next up will be Adele Nicola, Great Britain, Kia Placide. Then Bree Walker, yesterday's winner in the monobob, with Cara Rodingius. And we move on down through until our final sled on ice, Lisa Buchwitz and Kira Lipperheider. Race 6 of the IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup at the historic venue of St. Moritz in Switzerland. Martin Haven watching the action with you trackside as Sarah Blizzard and Desi Johnson of Australia get ready to take on the ice for the 2nd time. And for the 2nd straight week, they have made the cut into the 2nd heat. That's an important step for a young driver. And Sarah Blizzard now, with that confidence behind her, a good run in yesterday's monobob race, and makes the cut again. 5:74 start in the 2nd heat. She started 5:77 in heat 1. Nice and smooth through kink 1 and kink 2, and down to the triple pressure left-hander at wall. So important not to bleed any speed away here by skidding the sled when it's going very slowly. Through snake 1 and 2 and down to sunny corner. There is actually a little bit of sun in the sky, so we might see some sun on sunny. Through Nash and Dixon, and heading down to the signature corner, Horseshoe, the most famous corner in the business. Chopping out nicely into Telephone, skids off Telephone into Shamrock, sort of misses Devil's Dyke a bit, and then through Nameless, and then into Tree, the first of 4 fast right-handers. Bridge dropping down through Leap and into Gunter Sachs. Tap, tap, down the straight, taking speed out of the sled. 1:10.81 in the first heat, and across the line, 1:10.27. So over half a second quicker. That is a big improvement. Now, traditionally, on an artificial track, i.e. everywhere else, fresh ice at the beginning of the run is an advantage. Here, the later you go in the day, the warmer the air, the better the ice runs, the less frosty it is. Nice height in Horseshoe. Watch the runner tips, driving it off nicely into Telephone. Doesn't hit the wall before Telephone. She came on a fraction early into Telephone, flopped off early as well. And then into the next right at Shamrock. So there's Desi on the left and Sarah on the right. Off to Altenberg. Well, not yet. You've got to go to the leaders box first. Next up, Adele Nichol of Great Britain and Kaya Placide. They started 700s quicker than the Aussies. They came down with an 800th of a second advantage. Wasn't the tidiest run from Adele. Nice through Kink 1, 5.66, a faster start than their 5.70 first heat. And just avoids the wall there on the left-hand side, out of Kink 2. Down into wall, 1900s up. And then through Snake 1 and Snake 2, down to Sunny Corner. 2100s up. So building speed over Sarah Blizzard. And trying to work her way up the order out of Nash and Dixon. Nicely up to Horseshoe. Decent height. Little tap going down into Telephone. Flops from Telephone to Shamrock. Sort of skids into Devil's Dyke. Losing speed. The gaps come down from 2100s to just 600s. Not as quick as the Aussie sled. Liddell won't drop out of the top 20, but may not have the lead at the line. She was cleaner down at the bottom, 136.6 kilometers an hour. That's enough to hang on to the lead. 1100s, 110.24. So friends and family on site, the Union flag and the Welsh flag as well, the Welsh Dragon. All right. So they move into the leaders box. Bruce Tasker there, former Olympic slider for Great Britain, medalist in the Sochi Games in the 4-man. And good height, not the highest, but brings it down hard, really late again. Big steer down, hits the wall before Telephone. You saw the ice spraying off the runners. She really hauled it off hard. Robin Hooding it off, as the British say. Maximum steering effort. And then here in the forest, the sled just slipping away from her. So, Adele Nichol, the leader, as we get to our second Aussie sled. Yesterday's winner in the monobob, Bree Walker, with Chiara Rodingius behind her. Started 5.56 in the first heat, 5.58 in the second. So she had the 11th fastest start in the first heat, came down in 18th place. Just not finding the feel in the two-seat sled today. A 10th up from the start, 1700s up now. 1800s up as she gets to Sunny. And as the sun comes out, starts to warm the air, the track will go quicker for the later runners. A little to the left into Horseshoe. And again, has to haul it off, just like Adele Nichol. Slowest speed we've seen. She's the third sled down, third speed. Her teammate was nearly a mile an hour quicker, and their gap is shrinking a little. Not too bad down into Martineau and Portago, bringing speed. She'll have the lead at the bottom. How much will it push her up the order? Not sure. 109.90. Well, nearly 8 tenths quicker than her first heat. And so that's a decent improvement. 109.90 would have left her in 8th place in the first run instead of 18th where she found herself. So not a great Horseshoe, not big height. And then watch the runners again. Here, she needs to really drive it off, otherwise she knows she's in trouble, and you'll roll off and crash there. As we saw yesterday, as we've seen in training, it's exactly where Alana Myers-Taylor punched a hole in the wall. I basically destroyed the wall and the sled. And as a result of that, falls out of Telephone, kind of Mrs. Shamrock. Pierre Luders. Oh. All right. Well, that was better than the first run by a lot. Next up, Ying Qing of China, 100 faster than Bree Walker. So she needs to improve by 9/10 as well, just to hold her spot. And that's not going to be easy. Ying finished 18th last year, missed the cut in yesterday's mono race. So the woman who finished 22nd in the mono is chasing down the woman who took gold in the mono. They're very different disciplines. 5:71 the start. So losing out to the Aussies by 12/100ths of a second just from the start alone. And that lack of speed at the start now pays out to a 2/10 deficit. Out of Snake, down into Sunny. And then through Nash and out of Dixon. Ooh, skidding, but trying to get the line for Horseshoe. Falls off the wall a little. Telephone and Shamrock are quite smooth. Again, lowest speed we've seen, only 4th fastest of 4 sleds. And out to 3rd place behind Bree Walker and Adele Nicol. Still 4th best speed. She might drop to the tail of the field here. It's going to be close for 3rd and 4th place with Sarah Blizzard. Sarah Blizzard 47/100ths back and 44/100ths. She just sneaks in by 300ths, but the Aussies stay in the leader's box. That's the sound of one hand clapping. Well, you just heard it from both of them there. So Ying Qing drops a couple of spots. She'll be no worse than 19th. Last year, 18th. In the women's race in St. Moritz. Again, she was on the left coming down from Nash and Dixon, tried to get the height, late on in the corner, rolls it out, and actually gets nicely onto telephone. And Adele and Kaya seeing themselves pick up a spot there, they're watching. Next up, Simona Di Silvestro. Only her 2nd Bobsleigh World Cup, the former IndyCar and sports car driver. And Simona starting 5:89, 5:84 in the first heat with Martina Favoretto behind her. But Simona drove herself nicely down into the 2nd heat for the first time in her career. She's only been racing bobsleighs for 3 seasons after 18 years of racing cars at the highest level. IndyCars, supercars in Australia, Daytona 24-hour sports car racer. And she found really good speed down in the forest. Out of Nash and Dixon, she knows she needs the height. Decent height, smoothly down into telephone. Little flop into Shamrock, but look at the speed. Again, really good speed. 63.95 miles an hour, 102 kilometers. 114 kilometers, over 71 miles an hour. Nice smooth lines from Simona Di Silvestro and down into Martineau and Portago. Portago named after another bobsledding racing driver. And a 1:10.44, she slips back, but a good run and her first time making the 2nd heat of a World Cup race, as opposed to Europe Cup where she has been learning her trade. So she's in 2nd place, 400ths ahead of Adele Nicol of Great Britain.
From Canada, 20 seconds.
And when she saw the games are coming to Cortina, she decided she wanted to be an Olympian. And this, the most obvious choice. She knows how to drive things. So bobsleigh, front and center. Well, unlike most of our athletes, did not start as a youngster. She started in her mid-30s. Next up, Cynthia Appiah and Dawn Richardson-Wilson. 8th fastest start for Cynthia, and a disappointing and untidy first heat. Down in 15th place. Got a little bit of the first kink meandering down the straight. All right, through kink 2. Ooh, just trying to keep it away from the wall. 3,800ths up on our current leader, Australia's Bree Walker. Had a decent day yesterday, Cynthia Appiah, in the monobob race. She finished in 11th place. 17th here last year. So 15th in the first heat is a slight improvement, not what she'd be hoping for. Oh, thumps the wall coming into telephone, falls off telephone, misses Shamrock. Better speed than we've seen though. 64 miles an hour now. The sled's getting quicker as they come down. Out to 6/10 ahead of Bree Walker. And Simona Di Silvestro with a higher speed all the way down through here. And Cynthia Appiah is not close enough to that. She's not going to drop back behind Walker. What is the lead? 57 hundredths. So Cynthia Appiah takes the lead away from Bree Walker. And she and Dawn Richardson-Wilson will move into the leader's box. And they will watch with interest to see who goes and does what in the next handful of sleds. So it will be a personal best here in women's bobsleigh for Cynthia. But a little rattly down, outer horseshoe, just taking some of that pressure speed away. Next up is Switzerland's Enola Blatti, for the first time racing with Muswama Kumbundi behind him. Muswama in only her 4th World Cup start. The brakewoman has done all her previous races in the other sleds. So Muswama's pushed with Mel Hasler before now for the first time with Enola Blatti. Enola 13th yesterday, this is her first World Cup season. 5:55, that's another good getaway, exactly what they did in the first heat. That's the 10th fastest start in the field. So 400, she maintains her advantage from the first heat over Cynthia Appiah. Cynthia starting exactly the same, 5:55. And a little skid. 1100s up to Horseshoe. Brings it out a little early from Horseshoe. Cutting a bit of ice through Nash and Dixon. Now lining herself up for Horseshoe. Sorry, that was Sunny, of course. Low line in Horseshoe. Taps going into telephone, flops off. 400, speed isn't there. Giving it away to Cynthia Appiah. Needs to really tidy it up. Just 100th in front. Needs decent speed at the bottom. That should be just about enough. It's not going to be by much. A handful of hundreds across the line, 14 in front. So Cynthia Appiah, Dawn Richardson-Wilson leave the leader's box. They came down 109.63, 109.53 in this heat for Enola Blatti. Muswama Kumbundi off an equal start. So they add a 10th to their 400s from the first heat. Oh, no height at all in Horseshoe, has to drive it off hard and gets that square tap going into telephone. But that is taking a lot of energy out of the sled. She needed more height. And then out of Shamrock into Devil's Dyke again.
I'm happy,
All right, next up, Margot Bock of France with Luna Guru behind her. Guru in only her 4th World Cup start. Margot finished 14th last year and 10th in yesterday's monobob race. So 13th place off the 18th best start. If they can find even 100th here, that would help. 5:66 first heat, 5:65 second heat, 100th faster. And that gives them a slender lead over Enola Blatti of Switzerland. And that has gone because Blatti started quicker. So Margot is now going to have to drive herself into the lead all the way down this track. She's got as much experience here as Enola Blatti. So there is no home field advantage for the young Swiss driver. Margot limiting the time lost down to only 900s behind. Right on the right-hand wall, good height in Horseshoe. Pretty decent landing, falls off telephone. Taps into Devil's Dyke, had the best speed, bringing the gap down, just 700s behind. 300s behind, second best speed, quicker than Blatti. Must be clean out of Gunter Sachs here. And that's pretty decent, in the lead with better speed than Simona Di Silvestro. 85.3 miles an hour across the line, 109.56. Not quite as quick as Enola Blatti, so she survives on her first heat advantage, 800s in front. She was 1100s up on the first heat, but a 13th place finish, no worse, guaranteed for Margot Bock, who finished 14th here last year.
From China, 12th place after the first heat.
Pretty decent height in horseshoe.
And
watch her come out, gets that square tap, pushes her away a little from telephone, and late onto and late off telephone, squirms through into Shamrock, the next right-hander. 8 sleds down, and we get to our second Chinese slider, Wai Mingming. She's got Wang Chuan behind her. And Wai didn't race in the World Cup last year, didn't race at all last year, in fact. Wang Chuan in her 22nd World Cup start, Wai in her 27th. Finished outside of the first heat yesterday in the monobob, only 23rd fastest in her first run down, so she didn't get a second run. 5:62, little slower than their first start, and unfortunate touch on the wall for Wai. 400s ahead of Bock, is out to 500s ahead of Bock. They started just a whisker quicker than the French driver. That is going away into Nash and Dixon. Gets a tap away. Good height in horseshoe. Nice smooth telephone. Little flop into Shamrock. Taps into Devil's Dyke. Speed is gone. Only the 6th best. She's the 9th sled down. Dropping away from the leader. Behind Enola Blatti. Behind Cynthia Peer at this stage. It's 8 tenths back now to Brianna Walker in 4th place. So she shouldn't drop behind the Aussie. Only the 5th best speed, but it should be 4th at the line. It is 109.96. So Margot Bock and Luna Gouraud stay in the leader's box for France, and Wai Mingming and Wang Chuan drop down 3 spots to 4th position. So that will be no worse than a 15th place finish.
From to Keishalov, 20 seconds. Keishalov, Emily Renner from USA.
Dalman Streiskins, not so happy with the hit, the coordination between the driver and the brake woman on that start. And then further down, taps in the forest, always causing speed loss. Keishalov and Emily Renner next for the USA. 300s off the top 10, 400s off 9th place. This is a tough battle. Let's see what they can produce. 6th fastest start in the first heat, 5:51. And it's a 5:46 getaway. That's exceptionally fast starting. 5:45 is the fastest start. So right behind that, 2,900s up becomes 4,300s up. Keishalov, a winner on this, medal winner on this track with Kaylee Humphries, took bronze in the World Championships in 2023. Can she drive herself into a top 10 finish here? Little tap, great height in horseshoe, beautiful landing into telephone. That's the first really good horseshoe telephone Shamrock we've seen in this second heat, and it is building the speed. 56 to 6,800s up. This is a flying run from Keishalov. Best speed through the forest, and if she's clean here, no, she'd see a massive hit out of Gunter Sachs, and that will take 2 or 3 tenths out of the sled, but she's still going to have a big lead at the line. 1:09.01, the fastest run down today. Well, if it hadn't gone wrong for Gunter Sachs, she would have led by about 8 or 9 tenths, not 6,500s. That's a great run from Keishalov. 12th last year, 11th in the first heat, and that is a big challenge to the next 3 or 4 sleds. Emren gets in nicely behind. Great height in horseshoe. Watch the runner tips. Doesn't have to really drive it off hard, but she landed beautifully there, out of Sachs. That was the one big issue in the run. Taking speed out of the sled, but a big one from Keisha Love and Emily Renner. 10 down, 10 to go, and the US sliders lead by over 0.6 of a second. Well, this race, not just race 6 of 7 of the Women's Bobsleigh World Cup, it's also the European Championships. And our top 3 from last year's Europeans are Lillehammer, Lara Nolte, Kim Kilicki, Lisa Buchwitz in that order are here with us. There's Emily Renner with Tina, not her driver, that's Keisha on the right. Tina is the mascot for the Winter Olympic Games in Cortina. That was a difficult production meeting, wasn't it, coming up with the name? Beautiful view down into the ruined Campanile down in Slovenia. Down at the bottom of the lake. And there you can see lots of local residents out langlaufing, doing a bit of Nordic skiing on what is turning into actually quite a nice morning. It was very cloudy this morning, pretty warm, pretty mild overnight. Tiny little bit of snow falling, but it is very little ice crystals rather than big fat wet snowflakes, so not going to affect too much. There's Kathi Beil of Austria, waiting for her run in a couple of minutes' time. And some great views around this historic location. The bob track was set up officially in 1904. I think they've been sliding down this valley for a long time before that. And alongside it, a few years later, the Cresta Run was inaugurated. In 1928, the second ever Winter Olympic Games were held here. Skeleton running on the Cresta, Bob on the bobsleigh track. And in 1948, the first post-war Olympics were held here as well. So a 2-time Olympic venue. And in 2028, the World Championships. If you've ever thought I fancy coming to St. Moritz, that's the time to do it. The centenary of those 28 Winter Olympic Games. 10 down, 10 to go. Race 6 of the IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup in St. Moritz. Keisha Love of the USA leads. Alana Myers-Taylor, 4-time winner, and Jaden O'Brien are next up. 10th after the first heat. And these duos survived a massive crash out of Horseshoe in training. 5:56, it destroyed the sled, but they're in another US sled. And Alana with a good run into the top 10 in the first heat. Off the 13th fastest start, they started a whisker quicker this time, but with a little deficit at the start behind Keisha Love and Emily Renner, and that has grown out to 0.2 of a second. Second most successful driver on this track in the women's business, with 4 victories. Alana Myers-Taylor only outscored by Germany's Sandra Kiriasis with 5. Second best speed. She stopped the bleeding. Only 23 hundredths back. Oh, tiny more, but a little quicker than Keisha Love. And if she can be clean out of Gunter Sachs, those tiniest touches on the wall, has good speed. Can she bring back that quarter of a second and overhaul her teammate? Will she lead? No, 0.2 back. So second place for Alana Myers-Taylor. Keisha Love leads with 9 to go. So Alana, her most recent victory back in the 2018-19 season. She's been on the podium since, with a silver in 2021. No podium finish this time for Alana Myers-Taylor. Little late height in the forest in these fast right-hand corners. And she knew that she had to keep it neat and tidy. Just about squeaked out of Gunter Sachs and holding that speed down the straight. So is that her last ever race in St. Moritz? Well, she won't be drawn on whether she continues after the games. Next up, Melissa Lottholtz with Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell already a Summer Olympic gold medalist. 5:54 getaway. They were 5:56 in the first heat. And like everybody else, desperately trying to keep the sled from meandering down this flat section to wall. 1100s behind Keishalov. Have a feeling Keisha's run might well put her into the top half dozen here. 1500s back. Still not quite finding the speed. Melissa Lottholtz a little early into Nash. Good height in Horseshoe. Nice quiet into Telephone. Quiet through Shamrock. Better speed than the American. Closing the gap from 1500s back. Oh, it was 1300s, now out to 1400s. If she's clean out of Gunter Sachs, the next corner, she might have the lead. She is clean, she should have the best speed. It's going to be close, but it might go green at the line. Love or Lottholtz, it's a dead heat. There we go, the first of the day. Well, she was 600s ahead of Keishalov after the first heat, 600 slower than Keishalov in the second heat, and you don't have to be a mathematician to know that that means they are dead level. Laughs from Melissa Lottholtz and Kelsey Mitchell.
Next at the start, Catherine Bayer.
Just avoided the wall coming up to Horseshoe. And watch the runner tips again. No big dramatic drive, just rolls it nicely out of Horseshoe, down into Telephone. Runners in contact with the ice. That must have felt so good in the back seat for Kelsey Mitchell. Next up is Katie Bile of Austria with Christiana Williams, another summer and winter Olympian. An Olympic silver medalist, a Commonwealth silver medalist in the 4x100 relay for Jamaica. Now an Austrian citizen. 5:47 getaway. 200s quicker than their first run. Katie Bile with a really good run onto the podium. The European silver medalist yesterday. Took bronze in the mono. The race won by Bree Walker, not a European. So the gold medal went to the silver medalist in the race, Melly Hasler of Switzerland. She's yet to come, but Katie Bile opening up the margin at the start to 2/10. It's down to 1500s, needs a good Horseshoe, good height. Smooth exit, 1300s, little flop out of Telephone. Smooth through Shamrock and Devil's Dyke. Is she going to have the best speed? We're not getting the live speeds off the transponder in the sled. 1100s in it. This is going to be super close. She was very low there. Gets nicely out of Gunter Sachs. Has she got the speed to have the lead? It could be a three-way tie, or she drops to third. 10th up at the bottom, 1:09.12. Not as fast as Keishalov or Melissa Lottholtz, but she had just enough in the bank. Takes the lead by a 10th. It'll be no worse than 8th place for Katie Bile and Christiana Williams. Well, decent height in Horseshoe, and then rolls it off nice again. Watch the rear runners. That's always the sign. They come down nice and smoothly into Telephone. Tiny flop out of Telephone into Shamrock. And from Shamrock, tiny touch going on to Devil's Dyke. And that's why she wasn't as quick as Keishalov, because she wasn't as clean. 7 to go, and we get to Belgium's Kelly van Petegem and Jenty de Cler. And this was an epic run from the young slider from Belgium in the first heat. Kelly, 26 in just her 12th World Cup start. Jenty, her brakewoman, in only her 6th. And is this going to be an early birthday present for a brakewoman? Just keeps it off the wall. 5:69, 11th best start. A couple of hundreds slower than their first heat. But it wasn't the start that did it for them. It was some really smooth driving that brought great speed below Horseshoe. 1300s back at the start, 3/10 back from Katie Bile, who started 5:47, so 2200s faster. Now Kelly needs to get Horseshoe absolutely nailed. Good height. Smooth exit. Oh, skids into telephone, slams into Devil's Dyke. Dropping from second to fifth. The speed that she had in the first heat has eluded her. Below Horseshoe, it is not going anything like as well as it did. But she's going to be in the top 12. Fifth at the line with 6 to go. 6th at the line. It will be no worse than a 12th place finish. 1:10.04. And that is going to be her best World Cup result. Not holding the position, but what, and this is the key thing here, what she produced in the first heat, she's got to go back to that and go, I know I can do it. Not just I believe I can or I think I can. Second heat, not as tidy. Big skid from telephone into Shamrock. And then welting the wall as well, coming late into Devil's Dyke. But that first heat, now she doesn't remember that. She's only cursing those mistakes, but look, she was chasing down Lara Nolte, just 400 slower than Lara Nolte. Lara Nolte, our world and Olympic champion. Here she is. Well, start draw number 5 was not beneficial in the first heat. She's 6th after the first heat, 5:44, new start record. So Lara Nolte getting away so well with Leni Kluvig. 6th best, 43 hundredths out of the gold medal. And she had a 1300s advantage over Katie Bile. Started 300s quicker than Bile and Williams. And that is now out to 24 hundredths of a second. Nice driving lines again from Lara Nolte. Silent down into telephone. Barely flops into Shamrock. Good speed in the forest. The fastest sled we've seen. A whisker under 65 miles an hour and still accelerating hard. Building that advantage out to 32 hundredths. This is a challenge from Lara Nolte for the medals. She wants to be on the podium. Best speed of all down at the bottom. It'll be a new track record, 1:08.61. Little applause there from René Spies on the left and Gert Leopold on the right. The head of the coaching operation for the German team. Lara Nolte, the winner here 2 years ago, Nele Schouten. And a new start record, new track record, puts them in with a shot at the medals. Good cohesion between the driver on the front handle and the brakewoman on the back handles. Good height here, look at this. And then watch the runner tips. She did actually put in a bit of a hard steer just to get the sled down. Didn't hold it hard and hit the wall. And there you go. Leni Kluvig and Lara Nolte, start record, track record, the lead with 5 to go. 5 to go in St. Moritz, race 6, the penultimate round of the IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup, and 3-time winner and world champion in 2023 on this track, Kim Kalicki, 5th place after the first heat, rising to the challenge of teammate Lara Nolte. 5:50, 600s back at the start, and that means that as she sits down, she is behind Nolte. Kim Kalicki with Talea Prepens behind her. 800 slower in the second heat than in their first, and Kalicki skidding around. 4th sled off the start, or start draw number 4, but we were missing a sled as Maya Voigt pulled out, so she's actually the 3rd sled on ice. A disadvantage perhaps early in the race. Now she's got good ice conditions and she's stopped bleeding. Only 500s back, only 300s back. Flops out a telephone, hits into Devil's Dyke. Speed isn't what Lara Nolte had. Nolte fastest all the way down. Gaps out to 800s, only the 5th best speed. Kalicki is not going to take a medal here unless there's some more disasters coming. 800s back. 5th best speed, not enough to overhaul Lara Nolte, who was quickest and had a time advantage. Across the line, 2/10s back. Well, 1:08.85 is the second fastest run down the track today, and it's enough to see Kilic into second place with 4 to go. So a top 6 finish guaranteed on the wider podium once more. But there will be no 4th win on this track today for Kim Kilic. Is it her last ever drive down St. Moritz? Well, we believe that she has told Bundestrainer René Spiess and PSD, the German Sliding Federation, that she is done after Cortina. But, well, she offers her congratulations to Leonie and to Lara, our leaders, with 4 to go, and 2 Swiss sleds in the top 4. Debbie Annan and Salome Cora, the new brakewoman this season. And Debbie Annan with a great drive in the first heat. 5:54, excellent starting. 5:53 in the first heat. Best velocity of all for the Swiss duo. It's only the 9th World Cup start in Debbie Annan's young career. Our race leader, Lara Nolte, in her 47th World Cup race. Lara Nolte has probably had as many races on this track as Debbie Annan has in total in the World Cup. Great height in horseshoe. Oh, that falls out of telephone. Smooth down through the forest. Can she stop the bleeding? No, only the 8th best speed. She's going to slip behind Nolte and Kilic and Katrin Beil. Taps twice coming out of Sachs. She's going behind Lotholtz and Love as well. No, just dives in front of them by 100th of a second. So Lara Nolte and Leonie Kluving on the right there are the leaders with 3 to go. And a 1:09.39, a big improvement on her first run, but not big enough to stay in the challenge for the medals. 4th place for Debbie Annan and Salome Cora means they will be no worse than 7th. Great height, drives it down into telephone nicely, but hits the wall before, so came down just a fraction too hard. Taps going into telephone, and that sent her into a skid out of telephone into Shamrock. Ah, well, there you go. It's only her 2nd World Cup season. For her teammate, Melly Hasler, more experience on this track. The gold medalist in the European Championship yesterday. 5:47, good start for Mel Hasler and Nadia Pasternak. Just 200s off their first start. 1600s now the lead over Lara Nolte. Can she hang on for a 2nd medal? Silver medalist in the monobob and the European champion yesterday. If she finishes ahead of Nolte, she is guaranteed another European Championship medal. 1500, she's holding her advantage over Lara Nolte. She's matching Nolte blow for blow here. Same run, good speed. She's just a whisker quicker, half a kilometre an hour quicker. 1500's up. These final corners will solve it. Clean out of Sachs is vital. Good speed down to the bottom. It's going to be very close. It might be to the 100th of a second. Nolte or Hasler, 200s in it. That was the Swiss for oh my God. They are on the podium in St. Moritz. They are European Championship medalists again. Melanie Hasler, a bronze medalist here 2 years ago, leads with 2 to go. The European champion in monobob yesterday with a silver medal in the race. She is in the medals again with 2 to go. And only one of them is a European. So a European silver medal guaranteed at least, because Kaylee Humphries doesn't count for the Europeans, but she does count for the medals. Can the two-time Olympic bobsleigh champion get another race win here in St. Moritz? They're only 1600ths off the lead, her and Jasmine Jones. Start is 5:49, that's excellent. 5:50 in the first heat, and Kaylee really driving well in the first heat. Little meander there, down through kink 1 and 2, up to wall, 100th in front of Mel Hasler. This is going to be another tight race finish. Kaylee's last medal in the World Championships, bronze, with Keisha Love behind her. Still in touch. 700s up. Oh, little skid from Telephone Shamrock. Square tap into Devil's Dyke. Not the speed of Melly Hasler. Can the MUSA sled accelerate through the forest? 300s back. Is there enough speed? Little tap going into Gunter Sachs. Nice and clean down the straight to Martineau. To Portago. Still green. Does she lead at the line? Is it Humphries or Hasler? It's Humphries by 100th. Humphries by 100th. She will take at least a silver medal. Talk about drama again here in St. Moritz.
100th of a second. Now 100th and 100th faster than the start.
Kaylee Humphries, last silver medal on this track in 2016-17 with Melissa Lotholtz as her brakewoman when she was still racing for Canada. Alana Myers-Taylor and Brianna Jones were the winners that day. And behind Kaylee was Jamie Grubel-Poser and Lauren Gibbs. It was a US podium sweep. She's back in the lead with 1 to go. Lisa Buchwitz and Kira Lipperheider. Buchwitz still looking for a first win on either discipline this season. Leading by 16 after the first heat. 5:46 getaway. 100 slower than their fastest in the first run. She set the track record in the first heat. She set the start record in the first heat. The start record has been beaten by Lara Nolte and Leonie Klevig, and they currently lie third. So the Germans relying on either Nolte or Buchwitz here to get even one medal out of this race. And Lisa with a 2900ths of a second advantage. Surely it's too much to go away. Hits down into Telephone, falls into Shamrock, but she did this in the first heat and still had great speed. That is a much worse Shamrock to Devil's Dyke. Her visor is up. And she's going to have real trouble seeing here at this speed. They're over 80 miles an hour in sub-zero temperatures. It's gone away from Lisa Buchwitz. Out of Horseshoe, she's lost the race. It is victory for Kaylee Humphries. And Lisa Buchwitz, well, that hard landing out of Telephone, banged her head against the cowl, popped the visor open. You can't drive one-handed. You have to have your hands up. Look how red her face is from that sub-zero wind at 70, 80 miles an hour. Oh, Lisa. Oh. Well, they finish in 5th place with a 1:09.45. And add to Horseshoe, look, the visor is down, but bang. And I think it's the next one where she really, oh no, the visor's up already there. So out of Telephone into Shamrock, the visor pops up. You cannot take your hands off the D-rings or you are absolutely going to crash. And that will have been absolutely blinding her. I mean, look how red her face is from the wind. So victory goes to Kaylee Humphries of the USA with Jasmine Jones behind her. Just 1600ths off the lead in the first heat. And Kaylee Humphries gets her 2nd win of the season after victory in Sigulda just before the Christmas New Year break. Two-time Olympic champion in women's bobsleigh, reigning Olympic champion in monobob, Kaylee Humphries is back with a bang. Well, Kaylee Humphries and Jasmine Jones taking victory here in St. Moritz. Melanie Hassler, 100th off the gold. She gets silver, and Lauren Alter ends up just 300s back in the bronze, ahead of teammates Kim Kilicki and Lisa Bukvitz. Then Katy Bile rounds out the top 6, ahead of Debbie Annan, Melissa Lottholtz, Keisha Love, and Alana Myers-Taylor. And again, kudos to Alana Myers-Taylor and Jaden O'Brien for even getting into the sled and racing again after such a tough break in training. Well, fantastic stuff from Kaylee Humphries, and that is going to push her further up the World Cup standings as well. 2 wins now in 6 races this season, and her first win in St. Moritz since 2014, 12 seasons ago. Excellent stuff. And Kaylee won the 2013 Worlds here with Chelsea Valois, and a year later with Heather Moyse. Lauren Alter, the World Cup points leader from Kaylee Humphries, who vaults Lisa Bukvitz and Kim Kilicki. Mel Hassler in 5th, Keisha Love in 6th, ahead of Katy Bile, Alana Myers-Taylor, and Enola Blatty in the top 10 in the overall chase for the Crystal Globe as well. And a great day today for Kelly van Petegem, puts the Belgian driver into the top 20 in the standings. And of course, we subtract Kaylee Humphries from the top of the pile as we look at our European Championship podium. And yesterday's gold medalist in the monobob, Melanie Hassler of Switzerland, is the world champion, is the European champion with Nadia Pasternak. They are the gold medalists. Lauren Alter and Leonie Kluvig take the silver, and Kim Kilicki and Talia Prepens take the bronze in the European Championships. So congratulations, double European gold in St. Moritz for Melanie Hassler. Nadia Pasternak sharing that European gold medal with her in the women's bobsleigh. And so we leave St. Moritz for the women with 1 race to go next week in Altenburg before the big one, February, and the Cortina Olympic track beckons. But we are not done for today. 1300 CET, 12 midday GMT, 0700 Eastern. It's the 4-man, the big bangers, the Königsklasse, the blue ribbon event. Stay with us. We will be back with you in 1 hour and 40 minutes.